it explains their behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. So it's just understanding that balance between providing boundaries, but at the same time, you have to teach them the skills to be able to handle their own behavior. The older style of teaching martial arts, which was the scary mode of discipline. And that's not going to work in this generation. I don't want my son to grow up and think, wow, I ruined her life. Like, that's not fair. I should enjoy my life and also raise him.
This is Mothering Holistically, a podcast amplifying everyday moms' voices, creating space to share stories, practical tips, and inspiration. We empower moms to embrace every season of motherhood with confidence and pursue their dreams with resilience. I'm your host, Kaylee Berlinee, a mama finding balance in motherhood because balance is key when mothering holistically. So no matter where you are connecting with us from, please follow or subscribe and give us feedback as we continue to make this podcast motivational and helpful for you all. So today we are chatting with the infamous Master Sang Mee Ko, the Sava mom, a 6-degree black belt dojang leader and mother known for bridging Taekwondo philosophy and motherhood. She blends tradition, discipline, and grace while mentoring hundreds of students and raising her family. She encourages women to lead with structure, empathy, and strength, embodying the Taekwondo tenet of the indomitable spirit, being unbreakable even through transition and fatigue. So please give a very warm welcome. Welcome back, Master Sang Mee Ko. So yes, welcome back. Thank you again for joining us. You're such a hit and so inspirational. So I'm so happy that you came back to chat with me again.
Yes, thank you so much. What a wonderful intro for me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I just wanted to jump right into it. Since your last episode with us, how has your perspective on balance and leadership evolved, especially as a mom and business owner?
I have taken a lot of the lessons I've learned from teaching, my martial arts students in like being more thoughtful in how I parent. A lot of the stuff I'm more, not that I didn't care about my students before. Okay. And even before I had my child, I just kept thinking like when I had a kid who was having challenges with focusing or behavioral issues, I always thought, gosh, like that is such an experience for the parent because you always been playing the parent. It's always like, oh, this kid must suck because their parents suck. And there are a lot of kids who come to martial arts from different backgrounds, including divorced families. We got like a lot of blended families. And so it's a lot for the kid and it explains their behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. So it's just understanding that balance between providing boundaries, which you'd have to have. You can't hit people, right? But at the same time, you have to teach them the skills to be able to handle their own behavior and impulses and stuff like that. So I think just teaching martial arts and teaching children has always been humbling for me, but it hits a lot deeper now with my own child.
I love that. And I also love that you brought up, you can understand why children are acting the way that they're acting, depending on their background and their family environment and things like that, but it doesn't excuse it. And I feel like in today's world, we are all kind of sugarcoating people's actions due to whatever they're going through. And I feel like we're over empathizing in a way because it's like, yeah, I feel bad for you, but you can't just go around treating people like crap.
Yeah.
Just because you're having a hard time. We're all having a hard time. It's like that one where he's like getting that commercial where he's getting drugged on the street in a boat and they're like honking at him. He's like, we all have places to be. Like, we all have things we go through.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And like I said in my last interview with you, just everyone needs extra help sometimes. And we do understand that. And learning to live in this world together is very important. At the same time, we want to better ourselves. We want to become the best version of ourselves. And that's how I how much I love martial arts is because we have that chance to do that because they're motivated by the kicking and punching, but truly what we're focusing on is their character building.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And like I was mentioning to you, every time I talk to someone about their children and they're like, oh, I just feel like my children are lacking discipline. I was like, they should try Taekwondo. So I totally know what you mean. And we're excited to get our girls involved in Taekwondo when they turn 3.
Yes.
So, yeah. So you lived both as a master and now a mother. So, what moments tested your discipline most and what grounded you?
Oh, I mean, teaching the children as a master, so without my own kid, what tested me was the kind of older style of teaching martial arts, which was the scary mode of discipline,
Mm,
where there's knuckle push-ups, yelling at the children, borderline verbal abuse. Like some people look back at that and think of that as the golden era of martial arts. They're like, man, people used to be so good at martial arts because we could really be serious about training. And that's not going to work in this. You can't change a whole generation.
you
It
sound like
might
my
have
husband.
kind of worked. It didn't really work, but you could say it worked. But this new generation, we had to be more positive and encouraging just because like
Hmm.
you can't change how they're raised or like this current generation
Yeah.
with like helicopter parents and gentle parenting, all that. And all those things come from a good place. They're trying their best. And
Yeah.
so I think that is always where I get the challenge where I want to train the kids with the physical techniques, but at the same time, I ground myself by remembering, hey, not all my students, like very few percent of my students are actually going to come very high level black belts or even competitive in sparring or competitions and stuff like that. What we're really trying to do is develop the character. And for me, with my son currently, the balance right now is I work at a family business, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
trying to figure out how to balance my family life, but at the
Hmm.
same time, understanding that there is some flexibility with that we're a family business. And like a
Yeah.
corporate job where you definitely can never bring your child, I do have
Yeah.
the flexibility to bring my own child. At the same time, I don't want to take advantage of my students' goodwill
Hmm.
to just let my son run around wherever he wants at the dojang. That doesn't make sense either. And
Yeah.
my husband actually started working too at the dojang and balancing building up the business and proving to my father that we're able to handle it versus still taking time for ourselves. Cause I know that generation, they, they work their butts off, but the point is to make it easier for the next generation, which is us. And hopefully in the future, we can even give our son the chance to be a part of the business and be happy about it instead of thinking, wow, I have a good life. We have we don't worry about money, but at the same time, I'm working absurd hours.
Hmm.
So that's my next stage now as a mom, because when I was single and I had no one to worry about,
Right.
I worked a lot of extra hours. I
Yeah.
didn't have I have plenty of free time, but now I have to really balance that.
Yeah, I know. And I just want to like touch upon what you said in the beginning of you are now trying to convince your father that you guys can handle the business. What is that like? Because I feel like you kind of see that on TV. If we
Mhm.
can just touch upon that briefly, is it something where it is it like the
Yeah.
TVs depict?
I don't think I've ever watched anything like that. I think I've thought a lot about this and done some journaling and talking through it with my husband, who is an all-star, which is the core of it is my father wants us to do well. That's
Mm-hmm.
literally why he worked so hard his whole life is to provide for his family
Mm-hmm.
and finding ways to honor all his hard work at the same time, making changes to the business that make sense for today's student as well
Right.
as today's employee, which
Mm-hmm.
is paid time off that is actually accessible. Whereas
Right.
me growing up, we did vacations only around the holidays. Those, we have those 2, 3 weekends, Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
Vacations for us, family vacations was like really squeezed into there. And we never closed the down because we wanted to be a
Mm.
reliable place with our after school program and camp program.
Yeah.
Um, and there are schools that will close more, and that's their boundary, that's their prerogative, and that's their choice. At the same time, for my parents as immigrants, they really want to provide the best for us, and that meant making sure students could depend on us.
Mm-hmm.
And
And as
so, yes.
and as you continue the legacy, is that something that you are trying to balance with your child? Is that something that you appreciated, or do you feel you want to kind of have a more healthy, or I guess what people would call healthier work-life balance when in
Yeah.
regard to your family vacations and stuff?
Yes, a more balanced approach for sure, which
Mm,
is my goal right now with my husband and I is that we're trying to make it so the main staff, because we have a lot of part-timers, and the
mm,
part-timers, they're doing part-time hours here and there, so it doesn't matter so much for them. But for the full-time people, we want to be able to have 2 weeks PTO solid, right? Where
mm,
me and my husband and my son could go on a whole week of vacation and not worry about the school. And there's a variety of ways that could happen. There's many ways that could happen, but just finding a staff member that can do that, especially once my father leaves, because we've done it the opposite way. So he trusts me enough that he and my mother have gone on some vacations for
mm.
like a whole week, and I run it with my part timers and other. We have had some full time instructors in the past, and we ran it without my father and my mother around, and I was very proud of those moments because he
Yeah,
trusted me with that.
yeah.
Um, but now we need to find that person for us,
Mm,
all these young high school black belts coming up, and we have adults that volunteer and teach, that could be something, but at least one competent adult that could keep the place running while we take a little bit of a longer vacation so that my
mm,
son can experience bigger stuff, because we're really big on experiences over
mm.
physical
Things.
things.
Mhm.
So we're trying to, and his birthday is always Memorial Day weekend. So I'm
Ah.
hoping the past few years we've done birthday parties here, but I'm hoping in the future, instead of a birthday gift, because he's pretty much gonna, we're well off enough that he's gonna get what he wants or whatever within reason. Okay. We don't
Yeah.
need to, that's also a thing, like trying to worry about spoiling your kid is like, we could do a big trip instead of a birthday party with, not,
I yeah, I love that. That's actually what me and my husband are actually leaning towards as well, is more experiences. I grew up with the birthday parties and things like that, and things are fleeting. You play with them so little bit of time, and they just kind of grow clutter around your home, and you never pick them up again after that initial week. And I do wish I could have experienced outside of, California a little bit more and gone more places. And it's like sometimes I'm talking to my husband and he's like, "You haven't gone here, you haven't seen this, you haven't done that." And I mean, yeah, he's kind of excited to take me on those experiences, but now it's kind of like my first time and my children's first time. So like I can't necessarily be like, "Oh my goodness, this is so cool." I kinda have to, like, allow them to experience it, so I would have liked to experience those things as a kid. Now I get to give it to my children, but I like that you are saying that because experiences are memories for a lifetime, and honestly, like, I don't remember what I got for my 5th birthday, 6th birthday, things like that, so I like that. I really like the experience over material things, so that's really cool. That's
I
really
will
cool.
say, don't knock too much on birthday parties. I feel like everyone still feels like they need to get a gift. And I wish we could just all sign a contract or something and be like, hey, because I'm discovering that birthday parties are not at this age,
Mhm.
it's not necessarily for the kid. It's more
Mm.
like the parents never see each other. So the kid's birthday party is an excuse to actually hang out with your adult friends that kind of, they're busy with their kid stuff. And
Yeah.
so I still also do appreciate birthday parties, but I wish we could stop stressing out about gifts. That'd be nice.
I mean, even like, we've even done funds for season passes to places. So like the zoo, those type, like the aquarium, those type of things. Like instead of getting monetary gifts, you're able to gift them experiences in that way. So we've done like funds for passes. So that's also really cool too, to do the party. And then instead of being like, we don't really need all this stuff, my child is good, but season passes aren't that expensive. So we all kind of have a pot
Yeah.
for us to get our season passes, and then we can enjoy that throughout the entire year. That's really cool too, in terms of kind of having both, best of both worlds, the party and the experiences.
That's cute. Do you have like a platform you use for that? Or just you're just like, hey, if you
I guess
put some cash in the
technically
envelope, that's
you
what
could
it is.
use technically, I mean, the easiest one that comes off the top of my head would be like Amazon, because you can do funding, in terms of, you could say like funding for zoo passes, funding for the aquarium, and they can all contribute to that, and then you cash it out and then buy your passes that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. That's
Yeah, and
cool.
that's really cool too, because kids love going to the zoo, and you can't really get through it all in one time anyway. So it's like kind of a new experience every time you go. And like I said, the aquarium or museums, things like that require a ticket every time, and some of those places get really expensive. But if you just get a pass, you can go all the time, and it's really fun, something to do that doesn't cost you a lot of money. Yeah.
That's
So, how has motherhood refined your definition of strength and resilience?
oh, definitely. Um what's the just a lot of my colleagues and I feel the same way. And I think we went over this last time too, which is I would have been, I feel like, and we can't go back in past and redo it like the movies, but I feel like I would have been happy as a single person, but also I am feeling very fulfilled and happy to be on this journey with my son and my husband.
Mhm.
But I know a big fear that martial arts instructors, female ones, have is the loss of your physical strength.
Yeah.
It's hard because realistically, not only is it the 9 months you're pregnant, it's that recovery time. And you're already under so much pressure to be kind of top level athlete and then to quote unquote lose it all and have to gain
Mhm.
it back. Now,
Mhm.
having been through it, I really do appreciate what my body can do, which is
Mhm.
I'm 2.5 years postpartum now. So
Mhm.
he's 2.5.
Yeah.
And I feel actually stronger than I was before because I am more focused in my workouts. And it's very hard because it just really tests what like the hardcore perceptions. Like a lot of people think all or nothing. And I
Yeah.
really am in the spirit of all or something, which is, yeah, sometimes you won't get the full workout in. You still need to set aside the time for it. And I
Mhm.
know life is busy. I know different priorities take different, you know, levels up and down here and there.
Yeah.
But for me, especially because of my job, working out was a big priority. That's not to say that if it's not your priority right now, it's just a season. Right now, I
Mhm.
get up really early with my husband, like 5:30, 6, and we do our workout before our son even wakes up. So my
Mhm.
strength training, that's when I do it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then of course I'm doing Taekwondo all day. But
Yeah.
it just I really feel for the parents and the kids who have a lot of stuff going on because now it's not like I'm single me with plenty of time to ride my
Mhm.
motorcycle and work out whenever. I really have to schedule time in for that. And so it makes me appreciate so much more the people who come to my dojo. I appreciate them before too. Okay, but it hits harder. Everything just hits harder because you're like, wow, these adults, they have their kids are a little older, right? Because their kids are like maybe 6 through 12, and they're
Mhm.
coming to the dojang and working real hard on the mats. They come 2, 3 times a week, but they also practice extra at home, and it's incredible. I
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
it is really great to see these people. It's not their job. Really, they inspire
Yeah.
me. That's not even their job, but they love Taekwondo and what it does for their body and confidence and stress relief. So
Mhm.
I think this stage has really made me appreciate more and that really motivates me in my work, right? You always have to
Mhm.
find stuff to be thankful for, but sometimes it gets lost in the weeds, gets lost.
Yeah, I appreciate that you said that. And, in the beginning part of what you said in regard to you work so hard on your body, on your health, on your strength, and then it's like you get knocked completely back because you have this baby. But then, of course, remembering, oh, yeah, my body is not what it used to be, but it's grown and it did an amazing thing. And I actually, in the video that or show that I posted today, that's kind of like where I was coming from, was just like bounce back culture is really hard because you do see women who snap back right away. And then you're looking at your body like, what's wrong with me? But we all are different and we all have unique bodies, but we all went through this amazing transformation and just being grateful for that. So that's really cool too. And then also, like you said, something is better than nothing. So even for me, I was waking up really early in the morning, but as the podcast kind of unexpectedly took off quicker than I expected, it's been hard. Sometimes like I'm up late editing or things like that. So now, yes, I wake up early. I still wake up early, but sometimes I'm really dragging. So it's like, okay, well, what can I do? And then I incorporate the strength training a little bit more in the afternoon. I do kind of enjoy having my children see me work out because then they go and pick up like a 5 pound. They're like, and I like being able to reinforce, physical activity with my children. So that's cool. And I kind of think about it that way. But if there is a time where I'm like, okay, I really need this peace, I need this uninterrupted time when I'm strength training, then yeah, I'll go. But I also like the balance of being like, well, I have weights at home. I could totally do it. I don't have to just skip it because I wasn't able to actually go to the gym. So balance.
That's absolutely right. And you're right. Like a lot of people, it's just hard enough being a lady in general, whether you're pregnant or not, with all the body image stuff going on.
Mhm.
And that's something I was mindful of too before I got pregnant. I took my fitness much more seriously after college. And I was still, I
Mm.
mean, I'm good at Taekwondo, obviously, but I started losing a lot of weight starting in college. So I did like the anti freshman 15. It's like, I lost like 15, 20 pounds in college and was
Wow.
much leaner. And then even after that, but I started worrying. I was like, what if people see me and think you can only do Taekwondo if you're super fit? And I mean, that's not going to stop me from making myself stronger. But at the same time, I think it's important to be transparent about how you got to that way. And I always remind my students, like, I've been doing this over 30 years. I
Mhm.
did not get this body from just existing. I worked 30 years for this. So if you just started your fitness journey or whatever, it's not going to
Mhm.
look the same. And at the
Mhm.
same time, I have to be a little bit more higher level because of my job
Mhm.
and because I want to keep getting those higher level black belts. But if that's not you, that's okay. Not all of us are going to be Olympians. It's good. And with the kid thing working out, I also really enjoy showing my son our kicking and stuff. He'll start kicking randomly now. He
Aw.
saw me do leg swings once and he will just randomly grab a couch and just swing his leg up. And it's incredible. It's really fun. And so you can use
Mhm.
your kid. Have you seen those ones where you like take the kid and you
Yeah.
do weightlifting with them?
I
And
guess it's hard for me because it's the 2, so if I pick up
yeah,
one, it's
yeah,
like
you have to just take turns, right? And kids are really not great at listening to you. I mean, some of them are, but they're really good at copying. They're
Yeah.
so good at copying. They'll copy whatever you do. That's what also drives me as a parent because I saw all the Dojang kids and you look at their parent and they're exactly like their parent. They're exactly like their parent. And I was like, what is he going to copy from me that I'm going to be like, oh no. I mean, it's cute. It's cute. It's like we
Yeah.
laugh about it. In the moment, we're going to be full of regret and we're going to learn. That's what I love about it. Just like I learned from my martial arts students, it's going to be much deeper and more meaningful with my own son and learning what things I need to work on
Yeah.
because I want to be a good parent for him.
Yeah, most of us are just trying to be the best that we can be, and as long as we're doing that, we can't we're always gonna probably have, like, "I wish I would've done something better," but as long as you're doing your best, doing everything that you can, they're gonna turn out the way that they turn out, and, you know, yeah, they copy us when we're little, but for me, when I reflect on myself, I'm very different than my parents. I have some things that are very similar, but the way that I view life and things like that, I feel like I'm a little bit different. So,
Mhm.
we all go through these
Yeah, and that's
ups
what
and downs.
happens, right?
Mhm.
Either
Mhm.
you become like your parent or you see the parent and you say, "Oh, I definitely don't wanna do that." Which is some people
Yeah.
swerve like way in the wrong direction. You're like, "My parents were so mean to me, so I'm gonna be very, very gentle and have no boundaries with my kids." And I'm like, "Please stop." I see that with some of my students a lot because I can tell, um,
Mhm.
like, sometimes I'm surprised when I see some of my kids, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Because in Korea, there's just a lot of, like, filial piety for your parents.
Mm.
So when I see Korean parents my age and their kids are wild and running around, I'm like, "What is this?" Like, I expected your Korean kid to be very, like, very mild-mannered and quiet, and this is not the case, and it's because they went the opposite direction. And they're
Mm.
like, "Please help. My kid doesn't listen to me at all," versus too docile, because that's something that a lot of Korean kids or Asian kids in general sometimes, have a hard time speaking up. And that's
Mhm.
usually what I have to deal with. But sometimes we see the opposite, and it is what it is. It is.
Okay, so when you look back on 2025, what did you learn about patience, purpose, or surrender?
Oh, that's a good question. I I think, like I said, the family business thing and planning for our future has been a little tricky because
Mhm.
I obviously can't tell my father what to do. He's a 9th-degree black belt and he's the boss. So, at the same time, I can't just give in to whatever he says anymore completely.
Mm. Mhm.
So, to some extent, being patient, with how different ways we decide to run things. Some things I had to decide, okay, I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let it go and we'll do it when we're fully in charge. Then some
Mm.
things I do need to speak up because, for
Mhm.
example, with my son, I do want to eventually start bringing him to the dojang so he can see more of the Taekwondo stuff. Because that's one thing that my parents didn't do with me that I would like to do different, which is present martial arts as a viable career option. For my parents, it was more like, we're running this business and we want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. They didn't, kids always say they want to be something, but it's not until you actually try it out that you really decide. So honestly, my parents, I think, originally planned once all the girls were, successful and through college and have jobs, they would stop the tojang. But then
Mm.
they realized, oh, this could be and honestly, my dad did pitch it. He said, "You could be a doctor and run taekwondo dojang on the side." And I said, "I don't think you understand how much work this takes." Because there are people who do that. Like, it's more of a side gig, but it still earns a lot of
Mm.
money. And I said, "That's not going to be me. It's either going to be all in for me with the martial arts and fully dedicate to my students, or no." And
Mm.
showing him, wow, you can live a great life, which is where the proper PTO comes in and the
Yeah.
fulfillment that comes out of it, and keeping
Mhm.
yourself healthy. Like, man, not many jobs really kind of encourage you to keep healthy. It's like you're at a desk all
Mhm.
day. And they have,
Yeah.
incentives. Like, what do they got? They got like, like the company health insurance, or you get
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like a Amazon gift card for going to the
401k, I
gym every
guess.
day. But do they really track? You just say, "I did go to the gym," and you don't. So letting go of some stuff and being more patient with that. I think if you talked to me a few months ago, I'd be like, I'm not having a very hard time. But I think at this point, I've finally kind of mellowed out and realized, hey, it's going to take time, just like it took time for me to get my body to where it was and not back to where it was postpartum. It just takes time, and you can't just give up. You have to
Yeah.
keep trying and communicating.
Yeah, I like the perspective that you're sharing in regard to your father because that is a very interesting dynamic. You are becoming your own, you're a grown woman, you are a wife, you're a mom, and your dad is your dad. So he can't erase that he sees you as his child which you are. You're his child, but you're not a child. You are his child. But that dynamic, especially because, like you said, Taekwondo has given you the ability to find strength, find your voice, find your confidence. And so you are this confident leader. And then to want to voice some things to your dad, because a lot of us still see our parents as people that we can test and question because they are still a safe space. And I'm sure that there's this strength that you have over everyone else in the dojang, all the employees. There's this level of I can talk to him, I can say maybe something, but of course to be like, but he's still a man and he is a ninth degree, like you said, ninth degree black belt. He's the owner and he built this and he sees it in a different light than you see it. So if you don't mind elaborating a little bit more, like how do you balance that to maintain the healthy relationship with your father, to demand respect in a respectful way? How do you manage that?
There's this saying in Korea, and it's really, I don't know the exact word, but it's sons are worth 0 and daughters are worth 100, which is sons, they go off and make their own family and kind of like ditch the parents, but the daughters stay and take care of the parents. Like that's not just Korea though. You see a lot of women who are responsible for taking care of their elderly parents and stuff like that. And I realized this at the last conference I went to. I went to a martial arts conference and I was kind of lost. I felt like, how do I get my grandmaster father to listen to me? And so I did actually, and I realize now my mistake was I'm not close enough with these people to just have them spill everything out to me. They're not going to ruin their reputation or their father's reputation by just putting it all on the table. So I do take that grain of salt. But when I went up to these Korean men and I realized they were all men, I said, like, how did you get your father to let go? And a lot of the answers were just show them the money. Like all the stuff you do, just show how much profit you make and they'll just let go. And on the opposite end, there was, oh, I didn't. I left. I went and did my own thing. I just ditched him because I couldn't, you can imagine two very strong-minded martial arts men just like clashing with each other and just saying, forget it, bye. And just they make their own schools. And it's a little sad because they could have built upon it. And then the ones that do success, again, I'm not sure. I don't know the true story between all those people, but I think with me, I mean, it's not like it hasn't crossed my mind, man, especially when I was younger and I felt like he's not listening to me. It's like, should I just go? Should I just go and make my own dojang? Not close. I didn't want to what is it called?
Compete.
Yeah. That's rude. That's really rude. Which some people even do that. At least like if you're going to make it, you need to go like a different state or a different town, like an hour away. But that would be that's like you just broke your entire family. But that's the thing. Like I think that I think about that more. I don't think about just me and my father. I think about what would that do to our entire family if I didn't give in a little bit. And I had to understand he did not build this whole business because he was bad at it. Like there's much wisdom that I can get for him, but understanding my father's communication style, which, he's not, and he's admitted to me. And I had to just understand that he said, Sang Mi, I'm not a good manager. And he said that to me in one of his, one of the kind of deeper conversations we've had. And I do want to try to do more of that. I just need to be less nervous about speaking to him on a deeper level, which is that I'm not a good manager. If I think someone's not doing a good job, I'm just going to go do it myself because I don't feel comfortable telling people what to do. I'm like, what? You don't? He's like, no. Like, I'd rather do it myself and get it done right the way I want it. / I don't feel comfortable like telling people everything because I know I don't like getting bossed around. So I don't, so it's just this mix, his communication skills is also a little hard because English is his second language. He's much better at English than my mother. And I don't realize it until I hear her talking to an American, an English speaking person. I always think she's cause we speak Korean-English, right? We speak Korean and English. So I always think that like some of my Korean parents too, I don't realize how bad they are at English, for lack of a better word, that, oh, English really is your second language, because I've been
Yeah.
talking to you mostly in Korean. So I think that's the big thing, is just I didn't stop. That's the thing that I think I realized, is some people, it just boils down all just to money, or it boils down to forget it. I'm done. I'm leaving. But even though it does cause me some stress, I'm staying, and I'm really trying to make it work. And
Mhm.
so, and my father ultimately does want, we want, both want the same thing.
Hmm.
It's going to take some time for us to communicate with each other. And I do actually do need like an actual full-time instructor or a reliable administrative assistant. That's not me or my husband. Cause again, if we
Right.
want to go on vacation, it's not like,
Yeah.
I mean, if my husband want to go on vacation by himself, he could. I could run the whole dojang fine. But, but
But you want to
we
go
want to go
together.
together. We want to go together. So we need another person. We need,
And good help is so hard to find these days. It's so, and to trust them and money, and seeing so many stories. So I can understand, um, the struggle there. I was actually talking to early interview Courtney Capano, and I saw her going on vacation, and like her store had just pretty much just opened, and I was like, how are you feeling comfortable going on vacation and leaving people? So I kind of like how she expressed it, but anywho, going back to you and your dad, I really like that he was able to be vulnerable with you and open up and be honest, because then it gives you the ability to better understand. And I do feel like that helps with patience because you love your dad. So that's going to help at the very bare minimum. It's going to help because you love your dad and you respect him. But then when he opens up, then you see a different side of your dad, and you're like, okay, at least he was able to admit to me um, what his opportunities are, and I can help him with that. And so I really like that, because that would help me if I was dealing with something like that, and just to hear my dad say like, I'm just not that great at that, so this is how it's coming off, and, ah, you know?
yeah. And
And
from the
and
thought, from the child perspective, I, people, as a kid, I'm an adult, like you said, but as a kid, you put so much stock into what your parents say.
yeah.
But as I've grown up, and since I've stuck around long enough, I have
Mhm,
heard things that I know it's because he's just frustrated.
mhm,
Whereas as a kid, that's why it's so scary as a kid. And that's why it's so
mhm.
scary to parent. Like you could say something in a moment of just frustration and it will stick with your kid. And I'm
Yeah.
like, am I going to traumatize my child forever by saying this really mean thing because I was frustrated? But that's why we always have to like, follow up. But I
Yeah.
mean, I just have to understand, like, yes, we love each other and we want our business to succeed. So I always like come back to that. And there are things that
Mhm.
he said that I hear later at a conference or hear in slightly different words. And again, it's because I stuck around long enough. I realized,
Yeah.
oh, he was right.
Mhm.
It was said a little gruffly.
Yeah.
And it rubs me the wrong way, but he
Yeah.
was right. And so
Mhm,
understanding that means that I'm more careful now that I'm more mature about
mhm.
listening to what he says instead of
Yeah.
just immediately discounting it because he said it in a rude way or in a moment of frustration or because I don't like it. Just because I don't like it and I think my idea is better doesn't mean I'm right. It means I should
Mhm.
still listen to what he has to say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that I have learned, I started managing people at a very early age, but like professionally at age 19. And that taught me so much because it was like what it all boils down to is just communication.
Yeah.
And you get so much further with people if you just open with them and you communicate. And I think a lot of people lack humility, because that's again, it just boils down to humility and communication and humbling yourself. Just because you're the manager, just because you're the parent, just because you feel like maybe you're a step above somebody doesn't mean you can't humble yourself or learn from that person because you've been doing it longer or whatever. And I think because parents are like, well, I'm the one taking care of you, I'm older than you, I know more than you. It's like, but that's why, the the trainee always, beats out the sensei because they're growing up in a different time, and your time has passed, and now you can learn from someone who you feel is possibly lesser than you. So it's just always boils down to the communication. It just really helps to build respect, and I really appreciate, again, that you and your father are able to communicate in that way. And again, going back to putting your parents on a pedestal, because you do look at everything that they do, and you're just like, oh, I love my parent. But then as you get older, you're like, wait a minute, some of these things aren't what I thought they were. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
And that's definitely something we're trying to do with our son. Obviously, he's only 2.5, but if we do lose our cool, we have to, even if he might not explain, like understand completely, be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I got frustrated." I
Mhm.
always, that's something that like the older generation of master wouldn't do, which is
Mhm.
apologize for your behavior. Because
Yeah.
I do tell the kids when I get frustrated, "Hey, I'm really having a hard time right now." Especially when I was pregnant. My gosh, that was crazy because I didn't want to freak him out. But how it's like being pregnant. First of all, your body ain't moving right, like
Mhm.
you're sleep deprived, you're stressed. So sometimes
Mhm.
I would tell them up front, "Hey guys, I'm having a really rough day. I feel like I could puke at any second now. We're going to do our best. I'm sorry if I snap at you." And that helps me regulate myself because when I say that out loud, then I'm pinpointing my emotions. And that's
Mm.
something that they need to learn too as children. So
Mhm.
modeling the behavior so that they can copy me, and also when they're frustrated, tell me. But
Yeah.
it's so humbling being pregnant, but also teaching children because they'll snap right back at you. They'll point out all your inconsistencies and your, what is it called, hypocritical comments.
Yes. Yeah.
They'll come at you, and it's so frustrating because you're like, "Yes, I'm being a hypocrite, but I'm also frustrated and stop it." And I can't look like that. I can't be like another teenager while I'm wearing this black belt. So
Yeah.
that's it's really prepared me. I feel like, okay, of course, there's gonna be other curveballs as a parent, but it's all, again, it's just you learn from everybody and everything, and it's good. It's good.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so how can moms apply martial arts structure to their own lives without feeling rigid or overwhelmed?
Oh yes, like I said, a lot of the teaching martial arts has taught me to kind of be a better parent. But in martial arts, you have to pay attention to what's going on around you, right?
Mm.
Like if you're sparring, it's not about just throwing random fast kicks. You have to react to what your opponent is doing
Mhm.
and paying attention. So it helps you be more aware. Martial arts is going
Mhm.
to help you pay attention to more small signals because that's also part of self defense, which is like animals in the wild, they always do like the grr and they like puff themselves up and all that stuff. Like humans have the same version of that, but it might come off as more like someone starts speaking less and kind of giving terse
Mm.
answers. Do you just keep pushing them when they do that? No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's like it's sometimes with my kid, it's like sparring. I I know if I do this, he's gonna react this way, and I have to swerve and change direction. So, and it's honestly, if you do martial arts with your kid, they also do respect you more. I'm very careful about that. When I have a kid, because usually a lot of parents join later. They join later
Mhm.
than their kids, so they're like a lower belt. But if the kid tries to pull rank, which they do because they're cute, "I'm a yellow belt and you're only a white belt, so I don't have to listen to you." I say, "Hey, Timmy, you're gonna go back to white belt if you keep that up with your mom." So it's just because martial arts teaches that structure, right, of respect for higher belts, it does help the children. But at the same time, a lot of moms sometimes lose that confidence. So if you're a parent and you do martial arts, it also helps just build your own confidence. And we
Mm.
speak very loudly in class. We're like saying, "Yeah," like you cannot punch hard and key up pathetically. Like key up is the yell, right? Like you can't go like, ugh. Like it's just you can't. There's a mismatch. So when we encourage them to yell and yell loud and use your spirit energy to like kick, it helps not only their martial arts physical moves get better. You have to force yourself to find that inner confidence. And so that definitely helps with the kids because you're more confident in yourself. So that's where it can help through the parenting side. Because I have seen some parents have a much better relationship with their kid after they start martial arts together. It's good. It's good.
That's cool. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should start before then. Not.
Yeah. Honestly,
I'm
my
a
husband,
yellow
yeah,
belt.
that's right.
I love that. And I even when you were talking about it last time in regard to, you know, building your voice and building your confidence, I love that. I feel like you said, finding your own self is so important, of course, as a parent, because you want to respect yourself if you're going to try to demand respect from your child. They, I never believe that just because you're their parent means that you do deserve their respect. I feel like it's all earned no matter who you are. And like I said, you can't get respect unless you respect yourself. And I was just seeing someone else that I interviewed, and her post was talking about trusting yourself. And sometimes you don't think about it in that way, but I saw, her say, like, if you tell yourself that you're going to go to the gym and you're going to work out, but then you cancel on yourself, it's like, how are you going to trust that you can, do the things that you say you're going to do, and uphold the promises that you have to yourself? And all that goes back to respect. So do the things that you say you're going to do for you, and learn how to respect yourself for you so that you can demand trust and respect from others, especially your children. So I love how that's all interconnected.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So how do you approach goal setting now as a mother? What changed since before your son?
Prioritizing family time
Hmm.
is a big deal for us, which again, when you're single, you don't care. You have a lot of free time anyway.
Yeah.
And so I still want to achieve my Taekwondo goals.
Hmm.
So it's kind of being balanced around like our family and life schedule now, which is, for
Hmm.
example, next year, right? And you guys can hear it first here. We are gonna go for a second kid at some point next year. Um,
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
That's
but and
exciting.
it feels so weird saying that, but I mean everyone's mature and they're adults. So like we can talk about family planning. But
Yeah.
my goal is to get my body in peak condition and try to go to nationals for Pumse. So
What's
just
that?
like we
What's
talked
Pumse?
about scheduling in like workouts and time for yourself, like you have to when you're single, it's like more of a less rigid timeline.
Yeah.
Where for me, it's not like I'm gonna be like, okay, we'll try for the second kid once I medal at nationals. It's more like I gotta put in the work now. If I set that
Mhm.
goal, I want to get it, then move on to my next goal of preparing. Basically preparing my body now. We started prenatals. Yes, they were on sale at Costco. So I've started prenatals earlier this time because I'm like, why not? It's vitamins. Might as well prep earlier because we
Mhm.
don't know exactly when it might happen. And of course, I'm just getting more fit in general. So that's preparing my body for pregnancy, a second one.
Mhm.
And then in the future, then I have to plan for my seventh degree black belt.
Mm.
And so technically, so if I got sixth degree in 2022, I'm eligible 6 years from then. So 2028. But if it's 2028, like you gotta consider like 9 months pregnant with the second kid, then I feel like I'm, it's probably not going to be 2.5 years. It might be more. Again, people say it's hard with the second kid, and obviously, because you have a toddler running around on top of
Mm.
a baby. But we might
Mhm.
end up getting an au pair to get some extra help around here, especially.
Okay.
I don't know. So there's just all this stuff is just more. It's more flexible yet more rigid at the same time. Is
Yeah.
how I gotta put it. It's like if you're gonna set a goal, you can't be like, oh, maybe I'll get it one day. It's like, okay, we got to do this, this, this. But at the same time, in between, you have to be not lenient, but you have to be understanding for yourself. Hey,
Mhm.
like you said, some days it's the workout's not going to happen. So you do just a little bit. You do a lighter
Mhm.
workout or you say, okay, we got to let it go. We cannot let the stress like take over your entire day and take it out on the kids or whatever. You have to accept it and move on. And so, yeah, more stringent yet more lenient at the same time. That's
Okay.
weird, but it's a lot of stuff. It's like a banana. It's hard on the outside, but it's like something is just both things at the same time. Both things at the same time.
Yeah. So I want to really quick ask, what is Pumse? What is that?
Oh, Pumse is like the forms. So in karate, they call them kata. So you might be more familiar with that term, which is where like you do the set movements
Okay.
and stuff. And they grade you based on, it's like gymnastics. The judges sit with clickers and they take off points if you've messed up. So for example, like my high block here, if I was a little here, that'll be a 0.1 deduction. Or if I was supposed to do this, but I did this for some terrible reason, that'll be a 0.3 deduction because that's a major. And so that's always been a goal of mine to be really good at Pumse because it's safer than sparring. Sparring, you risk a lot of injury. I'm not, due to my height, it's not like I can really spar competitively because sparring does favor tall athletes. And I'm 5'3" on a good day. So either I would have to really cut weight, like insanely cut weight to be very light, which that is not good for my mental health. And it's not safe for me to train like that, especially now that I have a child that I'm responsible for. And also I'm in charge of the school. Like if I get injured and I can't teach martial arts, that's bad. So Pumse is my way of, continuing to challenge myself. And I like it. I do love like testing my flexibility and showing off how strong my punches are. So that's what Pumse is in Taekwondo.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I feel like you showed some of those pictures, right? Where you're like also breaking the wood, that type of thing. Is that what that is?
That one's demonstration. So the breaking of the wood and the weapons with the fans, that's more showing off. That's the fun stuff you do to show off, and people are like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. And I think I saw one of your videos where you like threw it out and like chopped it with your foot. That was really cool. And then to also touch upon you wanting to have a child, I think that's one, like you said, family planning, and then what can you do to prepare? But then also, like, I like that you're doing something that will fulfill you, where you're like, okay, I realize I'm taking on a whole nother being, a whole nother person, and that's going to be very demanding on myself. So, what can I do right now that's going to make me happy and proud of myself, where I don't feel like I'm lacking anything before I bring on this next responsibility? I really, really respect that and appreciate that you are planning for that. And it it kind of reminds people that it's okay to think far in the future, especially when you kind of have this establishment, this, you're settled with your husband or your partner, and then you have your child. You can start thinking about stuff way in the future. And coming from a divorced family, for me, having that sense of security has really changed my perspective on life as well. And I can truly appreciate being able to plan and prepare and think about that. And it's drastically changed my view on life because it feels so good to be able to do that. And yeah, I think that that's so cool that you're like, okay, we're gonna have kids. Let me start planning. Let me get my body in shape. Let me get my prenatals. But let me do this one thing. Let me do this one thing first. So I can feel like, okay, I did something, I accomplished something that I was working towards, and then I can now kind of get that off my brain and really focus in on my son and the new baby so that I'm not taking away from that because my brain is on somewhere else or regretting something else. I really, really appreciate that. I'm glad that you brought that up because it's so important to plan or just think about what is important to you, because it's okay to have things that are also important to you other than your children. Like I've always said, they're number one,
Absolutely.
yes, but how can we how can we feel fulfilled in addition to that as well? So I love that.
Yeah. And yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, like you don't want your kid to just be sad and sacrificing everything for their own kid either. So you have to show it, you have to model it. And so just, again, that's, I think, something our generation has learned from our parents, which is we see a lot of parents just sacrifice everything for their children. And as a grown adult kid, you're like, I didn't mean to make you so miserable. Like, that's how we kind of, I don't know if you get that vibe. I'm like, I'm not trying to make you miserable. I'm not trying to
100%.
make you give everything. I want you to be happy too. So I think about, I don't want my son to grow up and think, wow, mom could have
ruined her life.
I ruined her life. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair. Like, I should enjoy my life and also raise him. And just, I think that's really important. And so, and Taekwondo is such a big part of my life that I think dedicating that time to it is not just good for me and for my son to see, but my students, I always do things with my students that this is something that challenged me. Everything I do, the kids think is cool. They think I'm top notch. And so it's humbling to go to competitions. That's why I would go before, not because like I expected to become a like world champion or anything, but because for my kids, my students, testing is humbling for them because they get nervous in front of everybody, getting the next black belt's the next goal. And of course for me too, but my time period for that is much longer. So if I go to yearly competitions, it's humbling. It makes me think, okay, I still need to train hard, not just good enough to impress the students on the mat.
Yeah, me and my god sister were actually talking about how what was I gonna say? Basically, like you said, we don't want our kids to think that they ruined our lives because we gave up everything. And then it even ties into your spouse. They fell in love with one person, not to say that we can't change, but they fell in love within an individual. And when you give everything to your children, you kind of no longer become an individual. You're just whatever they need you to be. And I just see it so many times where, after the kids leave the house and then it's like, well, why are we together anymore? I don't even know you anymore. And I don't even love you anymore. You're not a person that I thought you were. And it's just like a lot of people get divorced. So still holding on to things that bring you joy also holds on to your marriage. Your husband and you still have things that you can talk about and bond over. And then you, like you said, model things for your child. They're not sucking the life out of you and ruining your life. And now you're snapping on them because you have so many regrets and they're to blame, which is, of course, all that is,
that's not fair
they're
to
blame.
other.
But yeah, that's not how it should be.
But like I said, some people don't think about this stuff. So I'm so glad we have platforms like this where we can talk about it and kind of bring it to light so that moms can think about this stuff and say, hey, this is another perspective. This is another way to look at it that can bring everybody peace.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how can we make space for rest while still honoring consistency and self-discipline?
Oh man, that's so just important in exercise in general and I see students that get injured. And so especially we have more adult students now. I always emphasize rest is part of training. Now some kids, rest too much. Like you put on the mat, try harder. But I make sure like, especially Sundays, I don't really do much. I'm not like, and sometimes that's hard, especially when you're postpartum and trying to lose weight and get your body back. You feel like you have to keep going all the time.
Yeah.
But I do work with a coach for my strength training and he put it best, which is all stress is stress. So exercise is stress. So when you work out and your muscles are sore, that's stress. If you don't get enough sleep, that's also stress. If you're stressed from work, that's stress. Your body does not differentiate between lack of sleep and your bicep being a little sore for something. It's all just stress. So the more stress you pile on from like bad relationships at work or having and
don't forget positive stress. Positive stress is also stress.
Oh, like a lot of fun, a lot of stuff happening at once.
Yeah. Like even if you, you're getting ready for a party, that's exciting, but it's stressful. You know what I mean? So like you said, it doesn't differentiate between any type of stress. Yeah.
No, it doesn't differentiate. So getting that rest is just one, understanding that all stress is stress, even positive stress, exercise stress, lack of sleep stress, dealing with toddler tantrum stress. Like you have to find ways to refill yourself. so you can train harder the next day. So that I understand that very well from the exercise perspective, but that really helped a lot because he looks at things holistically with the coaching, which is, are you getting enough sleep? How's your diet? What's your life stress like? He's not a therapist. That's something different. We got to deal with that differently. Right. But at the same time, it brings to attention. And I do love that holistic way of exercising, which is it's not just the workout and it's not just like the protein intake. It's more than that. And so since I had a very good understanding of that in the first place, I think it was easier for me to understand. And again, just because I like see it with your own kid. Your toddler don't take a nap, you're going to have a terrible, terrible time. And so just these little humans remind us, hey, you know, my toddler has a hard time. I too have a hard time if I don't get enough sleep. So it just reflects, it's a mirror. It's a little mirror and it helps you understand more.
Yeah, definitely. Rest, I'm understanding. I mean, we got the little Oura ring to be able to track our sleep, and it's like a game now. Me and my husband were like, what was your sleep score? You know, what's your recovery score? You know, and there's also things that it's teaching me that I didn't realize. Like before, I thought eating late at night was just like, it's going to make you fat, you know? And it's like, okay, no, not only is eating late at night possibly going to put on some pounds, but it's going to impede your recovery. I didn't know that. I didn't know that if you eat a certain time, your body is not able to rest because now it's working on that food that you ate late at night. And if you're feeling sore, you're feeling sluggish, even though you got 8-9 hours of sleep, because you didn't give your body that time to fully rest, it was working on that food. Now you're waking up tired. And it gives me a really good perspective of like, oh, that's why. So, you know, sometimes as a parent, it wasn't that I was just binging at night. It was like I forgot to eat during the day. So now I'm hungry and I'm like lightheaded. So I eat something. But because now I know it's not just about the pounds I'm putting on, it's all encompassing. I really, really push myself to eat more during the day and be more conscientious of that so that I can stop eating by, you know, 6, 7 at the latest and my body can get good rest and recovery. So that's also cool. So what have you learned this year about leading with both gentleness and strength?
In terms of learning, like I said, it's just all the same stuff. I think I'm in a pretty good place with my philosophies. I will say, I think from the business side, I've learned a lot more, which is it just reaffirmed my beliefs. Because that conference I went to, just a lot of the lessons that they taught at the Martial Arts Business Conference was, oh, the same stuff my dad already told me. So I mean,
like
that's
my
good
husband.
too. I don't think I wasted my money. You know, some people might say I wasted my money, but I'm like, no, because sometimes you hear something and you think that can't be right. And so if more people say, you're like, okay.
It takes
So
7
for me,
times.
yeah.
It takes
How
7
many times?
times, you know. 7.
Oh,
It takes
really
7
like,
times to persuade. So like, I mean, you learn it in business when you're pitching something or like putting up marketing, that type of thing. It takes 7 times for someone to see that same marketing in order for them to be like, oh, okay, let me see what you're talking about. And so that's just like a mental thing. So it takes 7 times. So yeah, that's why people get so frustrated when they're like, I told you that. Well, they said it differently. Like, no, they were probably the 7th time that you heard it.
okay, I gotta look into that. That's good.
Yeah. It takes a few times.
For me, I always had the philosophy like sometimes it just takes the right person at the right time. You know, and with parents, I'm fully prepared. Like, cause the parents are like, I told my kid to clean their room and then you said it and then they clean their room. I'm like, first of all, you don't got a black belt like me. Like that just puts a lot more weight in my words, unfortunately, whether you like it or not. But at the same time, my father has a black belt. Did I put weight in his words? No, it's cause you're the parent. And because you're the parent and they just need another black belt to tell them. So when my son grows up, it'll be probably one of my instructors that'll get through to his thick skull and not me. And that's fine because I'll be sad. I'll still be sad, but I will be thankful that I am not butthurt about it because that's just how life is. And so I think I guess it goes same thing. Just I always think about how I teach my students. And I think a new thing for me is to being more like I said, working with my father and my husband now.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're not as gentle or kind to our family,
Mm.
and we should be. We should not only be gentle and kind to the clients, we should also
Yeah.
do that for each other, which we do automatically for our son because he's little. But sometimes when things get stressful, like partners will fight because sometimes we say things a little rude because we're frustrated or sleep deprived. And I think that's something in this season I'm like paying more attention to.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And I think also it's not that we don't want to be kind to our family. It's just that we feel like they know us and they should know that we love them. And we take that for granted. Like, I love you. And it's like, yeah, but you can be a little nice. But we can't tell that to a stranger. We can't be like, I love you. So anyway, if a mom is ending 2025 feeling lost or unmotivated, what would you want her to hear from you?
Ooh, I ooh. You might have to cut this long silence out of the video.
The pause is good. We got to think about,
Long is good. Okay. I would I mean, the all or something is just a real good one, which
Mhm.
is so many people think they have to fix everything in one go, especially like you said, it is the end of the year. People are starting to think about New Year's resolutions. We get a lot of people signing up at New Year's,
Yeah.
and we got to think sustainably. We got to think,
Mhm.
okay, instead of all or nothing, all or something.
Mhm.
I think that's very important. And so all or something for sure. And then what we said earlier, which is we don't want our kids to think that it's their fault that we're miserable.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's something that is something like this millennial generation has learned from their parents. And they're thinking, okay, I don't want my kids to feel that way. I want them to see me filling my cup and taking
Yeah.
care of myself so that when they grow up and become adults like me, they don't think that it was like sucky to have a kid because that's why so many people don't have kids. They don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
They either don't want to go through that and they think, "Oh, if I have a kid, I'm going to suffer like my parents did with me." No, again,
Mhm.
I'm sure everybody knows we love each other, but just I think that's there's much nuance and details, but like I think vibe is that
Yeah.
and I don't want that for people. I want people to understand you can balance and mother holistically.
Well, I'm glad you said that part because my last question to you, or my last the last thing I was going to say is finish the sentence. Mothering holistically means.
Mothering holistically means taking care of not just your family, but yourself because they value you. So why wouldn't you take care of yourself too?
Mhm.
And mothering holistically means finding that balance. And
Mhm.
it sometimes tilts back and forth. Like when I'm doing a kick, it's not like I have perfect balance. Like as we kick and move, you have to adjust your core and your leg and your foot position, just like that. Like
Mhm.
you got to adjust and it might tilt a little bit this way or that way, but
Yeah.
getting back to center or getting close to it is the important part.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. I love that. And of course, I always love chatting with you. And this has been very insightful again. And just as we're just closing out this year, it's really causing me to think about a lot of stuff. And I've just learned so much from you, from all the guests, and the way that I look at life. And grown so much in just doing this for what I see is like such a small period of time. And I'm really proud of who I am transforming to be and how the show is transforming me and of course the comments that we get. And you were such a hit, like I said. And I'm just again glad that you came on and decided to chat with me again. So if you can
Yeah.
please say your last words and then let people know where they can connect with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me back. I'm
Yeah.
glad I got to go more into the details of kind of what life is like, especially with the family business
Hmm.
and being a business owner and martial artist. You can find me on Instagram. I'm mostly posting there,
Hmm.
sabum_mom.
Yeah.
And I hope that everyone does give martial arts a chance. I think it's different than other sports in that we look at character more than just winning medals.
Hmm.
And so not only is it great for your kid, but it could be an option for you to do as a family or even just for yourself. I
Yeah.
think think it's pretty cool when you have a black belt. They really do.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm thinking about that all the time. Like, I want to get involved, and we're moving soon, so I'm really excited to be able to get more involved in the community. And I will be looking for a dojang because I do want to, level up my skills and my flexibility and my confidence and my discipline. So I really like that you've been able to teach me and enlighten me on the value of Taekwondo. So that's been really cool. And then, of course, all of you listening, all of Sangmi's information will be linked down below. If you are in the Virginia area, her dojang will be linked down below if you want to check her out. And of course, you can follow me at Kaylee Berlinee on all social media platforms. Follow the podcast at Mothering Holistically to stay in the know with the podcast. And if you are in Taekwondo or if you are considering joining or putting your kids in Taekwondo, let us know. Share your story. Hashtag Mothering Holistically podcast. So if you like this episode and feel that it resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up by clicking that like button. And if you feel it could encourage someone or enlighten them on Taekwondo, definitely share this episode and subscribe or follow no matter where you're listening from while hitting that notification bell to never miss a weekly episode. We have new episodes airing every Saturday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you just can't get enough, we have launched officially our Patreon. So you can find all that information down below. So we're really, really excited about that. So until next time, remember to mother holistically and thrive authentically. I'm your host, Kaylee Berlinee, and together we're winning. Bye, y'all.